I'm telling you, you get a 2022 replication or something close to that for Badger and DK. Trey Wilson takes that step. This Gator passing offense may be a little more dangerous than it looked just a day ago, just a week ago in the spring game. If you can't tell, I'm pretty excited about this one. So I like it. It makes me feel better about this offense, makes me feel better about the potential of this passing game. You got a quarterback coming in for his second straight season, knows this offense, and now 2 transfers to add to Trey Wilson. Hopefully you still get that jump in production from a Marcus Burke and Aiden Mizell or a Jackson to be more consistent. You get that as well paired with this. You're looking at a Gator offense that might be hard to stop through the year. So, of course, mentioned 15th transfer in the class of 2024. And look, Florida got a mix of instant impact, developmental prospects. Elijah Badger being the 15th. And as you can tell, pretty excited about him being part of this class, part of this team. But let's just go through it one more time. You got now a mixture of instant impact and developmental prospects. Quamari McLean could be both. It could be instant impact this year. It could be developmental. Jason Zandamela, more than likely developmental prospect. Eventually a center for the Gators. Kayla Rios, we already know about his story. The Air Force tight end wants to redshirt this coming year. Has some experience behind him. Will probably play in 4 games, but he wants to take a redshirt. So expect him to be on the roster next year. So he's kind of an instant impact developmental player. Asa Turner, no doubt about it. 1 year instant impact, go make it back. We'll have more about him in just a second. Jameer Grimsley, developmental prospect. Clay Millen, backup quarterback. Need some depth there, even though with Graham Mertz, DJ Lagway. You go and get somebody from Colorado State who has experience at the quarterback spot. DJ Douglas, instant impact, no doubt about it. Devin Manuel, instant impact. George Gums Jr., I think can be instant impact, developmental. Grayson Howard, both those as well. Certainly instant impact, developmental. Chimere Dike, instant impact. Chakwez Bridges, instant impact. Joey Slightman, instant impact. Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon, instant impact. Good mix here. And you heard Billy Napier talk about that. I asked him about the transfer portal this past week, here in Jacksonville. And as he said, when you go get these guys in the portal, that has a lot to do with it as well. So let's go through it. I just went through the whole list there, but let's go through some of my favorite instant impact players right now, guys. We should expect to see a whole lot of this year as we put a bow in the transfer portal. Offensive tackles, Devin Manuel, Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon. Maybe not the best performance in the spring game, but did hear a lot about this spring practice. The staff likes what they have there. And I think we all know it's just at the very least quality depth. At the very least, one of these guys have a great chance of starting. But at the very least, quality depth when Austin Barber returns, Cam Waits return at the tackle spot. Now you got 4 bodies there that should bring out the best in this Florida Gator offensive line. Should be great competition. Those guys were able to take advantage of all the snaps in spring because of those other injuries to their vets on this team. Should make the offensive line better come this fall. Pup Howard. I mean, throughout spring camp, Florida had a few linebackers that had to sit out, of course. He was another one able to take advantage of some of the injuries that were at the linebacker spot. And freshman Miles Graham goes down. Had to have a procedure on his back midway through. For Shamar James, Derek Wingo, participating non-contact. But setbacks there, but allowed somebody like Grayson Howard to come in and get it. I mean, Florida, the way they construct practice, guys get a lot of snaps anyway. But still, somebody transferring in from South Carolina, if you can get we know what we got in Shamar James. I'd love for him to be there right beside Pup Howard, and those guys play together all spring. And in some limited capacity, that was there. But Pup Howard took advantage of the opportunity to show off his skills, impressed the Florida coaching staff with his understanding instincts. You heard Billy Napier earlier this week talk about him here in Jacksonville. Grayson Howard from Jacksonville. So, of course, he was going to be asked about him. Mentions just in the film room doing everything. As I said, one more time with Pup Howard, you're not going to find many more people dedicated to the game doing everything they have to do to get ready without being told to. Loves the game of football. During the Orange and Blue game, of course, all over the place, set a pace for that defense early on. He's got to be, to me, when it's all said and done. I won't be surprised if he's starting game 1. It won't be long if he's not starting game 1. He eventually will be. right there lined up besides Samar James. But that team high 6 tackles in the spring game, 3 of them were solo, pass breakup, just kind of solidifies what we were hearing all through spring. Kind of solidifies he's going to be a key player for this Gator defense. So expected to play a significant role at the very least. Second year in the SEC, first year at Florida, got the right size, got the right frame of mind for the linebacker spot. Excited to see what Pup Howard puts on the table, understands the defense, smart player on the field, ready for I'm just ready to see him. I mean, I've been talking about the kid for years now. So need to keep that progress up during fall camp, but little doubt he'll be on the field a good bit. Asa Turner, of course, came to Gainesville hoping for a fresh start, played for that national championship appearance for Washington, getting beat by Michigan, but ends up reuniting with Will Harris, who coached him back in the day at Washington, recruited him back in the day at Washington. Harris was actually the main guy who convinced Turner to come to Gainesville. He kept saying how Turner would, toughen up the team, bring that winning mindset, given his past success. Will Harris, a lot of the experience in a very similar defense as well, so able to share that. So despite dealing with a few injuries last season, Asa Turner looks like he'll be leading candidate to start there beside Jordan Castell. Not a done deal. Triquez Bridges, DJ Douglas also pushing for that safety spot during the spring, but I'd expect the Asa Turner, DJ Douglas rotation. We'll see how it all shakes out. Jordan Castell limited during spring. Certainly don't want to forget about him. He started 11 games last season, of course, and was second only to Jason Marshall in total defensive play time last year. So definitely some competition at the safety spot. We've talked about that plenty. Should make that group better. But Turner, of course, 2 things going for him. Comfortable working with Harris, loads of experience. That just might give him the edge, securing that starting role his first season with the Gators. His experience is going to be a huge asset to this team. Definitely going to make a difference when the Gators get back on the field in fall camp. Billy Napier at the speaking engagement this week highlighted the Asa Turner play where he broke on the ball against Graham Mertz in the spring game. Napier did mention, hey, Graham Mertz should have went to his left, not to his right, but still, tried to fit the ball in there. Great play by Asa Turner. Stay in the secondary, of course, instant impact. DJ Douglas, our guy from Tulane, showed up in Gainesville with putting up just more experience in the Gators secondary. He was productive there at the for the Green Wave, made his mark in spring camp for the Gators from the very get-go. If you guys checked in with me during spring practice, DJ Douglas's name was brought up early and often and consistently. Really paid attention to detail, showed great instincts. Remember that scrimmage, 2 interceptions that he had in the spring. Billy Napier, of course, had nothing but praise for Douglas and that consistency he brought throughout spring. Now, Douglas mainly did work with the second unit for the defense, but maybe earn some starting reps. We'll have no issue pulling somebody off when they need a breather or just to get him in and save some reps for some guys. DJ Douglas is going to play a lot of games for the Orange and Blue. But it's a sure sign. Florida improved the depth at the safety spot. So pretty hopeful. Certainly a lot more depth. Asa Turner, Jordan Castell, Triquez Bridges, all fighting for starting spots, along with Douglas. Castell being limited in camp, another player who took advantage of that. So Castell's probably going to keep his spot, I would imagine. A lot of experience. Now experience with Austin Armstrong as well for the second year together. Safety spot, and I feel really good about it. Couldn't say that a year ago. Coming into the season, Jordan Castell surprises everyone. Bryce Thornton, I think, is certainly a player we should not overlook. I think he's very talented. This group has got a ton of competition between experience from the transfer portal and the experience Castell and Thornton got last year. I'd be shocked if that group is not the most improved on the field. Don't count the veterans out. We like Castell, we like Thornton, but these guys have made a lot of plays over the years. So Douglas might not be the first on the field for the season opener against Miami, but don't be surprised. Significant role with this team. Ability to stay healthy. That's if Asa Turner goes down again, some injury history there. You got to have somebody like DJ Douglas who can step in. Bridges could end up maybe moving to a different position, maybe corner, nickel. Looks like Sharif Denson, Aaron Gates got that job. But if something happens down the road, if an injury happens somewhere else in the secondary, DJ Douglas certainly a spot there at safety. All right, so let's keep it going right here. Joey Slackman showed some in the orange and blue game of what he's made of. I think another player who will certainly be maybe not a starter when it's all said and done, but could start there beside Cam Jackson, if not Caleb Banks. So Caleb Banks, Joey Slackman, Kelby Collins in that mix as well. But when he was in the spring game, you could see was in the backfield, recording a sack, got a tackle for loss, 2 other tackles in the game as well. There's a good chance he'll battle as a starter, of course. His final season coming from Penn. Stellar performance there in the 2023 season. But there are several key defensive linemen with Jackson, Banks, as I said. Slackman's expected to certainly leave his mark. Expect that battle between him, Banks, and Collins to make this Gator defensive tackle spot much better. I mean, if you get the common theme here with this transfer portal class for the Gators, bringing a lot of competition to the fold with people who have been on the team last year. Caleb Banks, Kelby Collins. Yeah, you were on the team. We were excited about your potential, but you know what? We need more. And if you happen to win this battle, great, because we know you went and beat a pretty good player in it. So the addition of Kelby Collins, really a lot of depth there when you add Banks and Slackman. So I think Florida, in this league, in the SEC, you need to be able to mix things up. You need to be able to have rotations. Florida's got that with Joey Slackman coming in. So we'll see if he takes the first snap when Florida plays Miami or not. He's going to be a major player. Going to rotate a lot at that spot anyway. He'll consistently contribute. Need to step up the pass rush at that spot, and Slackman's got a knack for that. That's what he showed at Penn. Getting in the backfield, getting to the quarterback. So we'll see how he fares against SEC competition. Certainly a raise in competition, but was one of the top-ranked defensive linemen in the transfer portal. Certainly shows a lot of leadership, a lot of experience. All signs point to him being a huge addition to this defensive line. Keep it on defense. I mean, look, common theme here too. Defense, right? We know that side of the ball needs to be fixed. Now, I'm kind of splitting it here. I'm going to George Gums. We talk about instant impact. And we talked about transfer portal here, and edge was another spot that maybe you go get an experienced big-time pass rusher. Well, Florida didn't do that. TJ seriously going to be there. Maybe LJ McCray in some fashion as well. George Gums is another name that's been brought up, and Gators could use some more depth in the edge at the spot. Maybe Gums is that perfect jack in this defensive scheme. Only got a year of experience under his belt previously, but he did impress throughout spring camp with his potential. Of course, Mike Peterson, go back to how he says it, and he's like, man, it's like a new car I'm fixing up in the garage that nobody knows about yet. He's really happy with how strong and fast Gums was throughout spring practice, absorbing everything that's been taught. The guy loves studying the game, Peterson says, and Peterson's really excited about what he's seeing from George Gums. And look, he doesn't have a lot to correct in the technique, not a lot of bad habits here. 6'4", weak side rusher. Is really just soaking up the new information at a place like Florida and the rest of the Florida defensive staff. From Chicago, of course, comes in, goes through spring practice. Peterson said, look, I did my homework. Can I coach this guy? Can I push him? He checked off all the boxes. So it's been great. Really, really stood out in the orange and blue game. If you didn't, if we glossed over George Gums, well, we didn't after the spring game. 5 tackles, including a solo stop, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackle for loss, a quarterback hurry. Now, of course, the depth there at Florida and that edge spot may mean he has to play a significant role this coming up season at that jack spot, compete with Cameron James, TJ Searcy. So a little bit of experience, a lot of potential. We'll see. Starting with Miami, where's George Gums Jr.? Is he starting? If not starting, how much does he play? But if spring is any indication, Florida may have just unearthed one here that many players many teams out there just overlook. So I'm excited to see about that. I have heard a lot about they love his athleticism and see if that pays off. And then one more time, let's go to the offensive side of the ball. Chimere DK, of course, instant impact. Elijah Badger is going to be that as well, as we discussed in the first half of this episode. But Chimere DK, too, quickly missed the first part of spring practice, but it did not take him long. Climbed up the depth chart pretty fast. Was a downfield threat most of spring ball. We didn't see it in the spring game, but brings a wealth of experience from his time at Wisconsin. Played with Graham Mertz, of course, as well. Big season 2 years ago. I mean, he came in right away, settled in. That connection with Mertz, of course, plays a part there. Early camp limitations, made plays starting in that first scrimmage. Set to be a starter for Florida, of course. And, can he replicate 2022? Can he be like a Ricky Pearsall and go to a new? I mean, just think about it. Graham Mertz took that step from Wisconsin to Florida in just year one. Can DK be that same way? How much was he held back because of that Wisconsin offense? Now, last year, it wasn't a great fit. Luke Fickell comes in, changes the offense there at Wisconsin. Just not a fit. Is he going to be a better fit like Graham Mertz was coming out of that Paul Chryst Wisconsin offense? And can we unearth more from DK, just like we saw from Graham Mertz last year? Known as a reliable pass catcher, don't overlook his athleticism. He got in around handoffs there at Wisconsin as well. Used a lot like, Florida uses their receivers. He had a 4.46 40-yard dash at Wisconsin. And we'll see. Does that pay off in the SEC? Was certainly said throughout his first camp in Gainesville that he was getting down the field. But of course, you cannot overlook that relationship with Mertz. Not just leaving Wisconsin and coming to a better offense that may fit his style, but if they were already putting up numbers in that offense a couple seasons ago, hopefully they take off here again together at Florida. Good friends on and off the field. Hopefully that's a game changer, and it makes a positive impact for DK. So that DK Mertz duo breathes some new life into this Florida offense that was struggling to pull off explosive plays in 2023. Hopefully that's no more. DK's confidence he can follow in the footsteps of Mertz, making that progress that he made. So Eugene Wilson III, expected to be Florida's wide receiver, of course. Trey Wilson is going to be that star receiver. But DK's consistency, that well-rounded game, make him a solid 2 or 3. You got Badger coming in now as well. And I think it sets up a pretty good trio there for the Gators. So there's your look at some instant impact players, both sides of the ball. With Badger coming in, of course, he's an instant impact. But I wanted to give you, my thoughts coming out of spring practice. While we're talking about instant impact transfers, go back as this puts a bow in the transfer portal season for the Gators. Should put a bow in the class of 2024. Guys you can see contribute as instant impact transfers